part 3 of episode 60, and this is the winner. Well, it's the time to announce the winner at the very least of the best WWE Champion of all time tournament. Now, this started a couple weeks ago. Off the top of my head, I don't really remember exactly when it was. I think it was October is when it started. It was a much, a pretty tight tournament as far as matches go. A lot of matches in one shot, and it kind of zoomed by pretty fast. So we find ourselves in the finals last week, and the finals were a little bit surprising because it ended up being CM Punk against Stone Cold Steve Austin. I actually did my separate votes as usual, and I had Hulk Hogan against Steve Austin, which my winner eventually went to Hulk Hogan under the rationalization that Hulk Hogan is the one who paved everything for everybody, and you wouldn't be comparing Steve Austin to anybody unless you had a Hulk Hogan to compare him to. But
Right.
the way that the fans voted here, we have with 66% of the votes, Stone Cold Steve Austin has won the tournament. So even though CM Punk had a couple surprise wins there against Hulk Hogan and John Cena and Randy Savage, he still comes up short in the end, and Steve Austin ends up popping up with the win. So, uh,
Sorry, Chris.
yeah.
I can agree with you as far as Hulk Hogan. I can agree to disagree because, all right, I agree with you as far as Hulk Hogan putting that company on the map and everything like that. But it was like at that time they had no other choice but to have Hulk Hogan be the champion for like was it at one time what was it like 3 years straight that he was the champion.
Yeah,
So I
really.
mean he just went on a serious run. But you gotta think about it too. The guys that he went up against, the era has changed so much because title changes aren't like how they were back then, how they are now. You know what I'm saying? It's like Hulk Hogan would go against like guys like Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy,
Coco Beware.
Coco Beware never got a world title shot. I don't even think he ever got an intercontinental title shot, really.
He was the best two in the bird.
Yeah,
Although he
but
got into the Hall of Fame for some reason.
yeah, he definitely did, which really surprised me, and that's another thing I gotta gripe about. This Hall of Fame thing is crazy to me. But I mean, he went against guys like Mr. Perfect. I don't never know. I don't know if he ever went against Ravishing Rick Rude, but it's just like he went against so many guys. But I understand where Vince McMahon was coming from. Like, this is our top guy. I'm trying to make this money and push our company. So this is the figurehead. So we gotta keep him as a champion. That's why I always say when it comes down to champion versus champion, as far as like the argument between who's better as a world champion between him and Ric Flair, I always go with Ric Flair because Ric Flair, what made Ric Flair a champion because he actually put guys over and made guys careers like Barry Windham, Sting, Ricky Steamboat, Ronnie Garvin. I mean, guys like that. He made those guys, and that's what made him even better to me, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know,
Yeah, that's a good rationalization. Uh,
So I,
Ric Flair actually got knocked out by Brock Lesnar of all people in this tournament,
are
if
you
you believe it or not.
yes, he
serious?
did. Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
wow.
I can't remember who I personally voted to where I knocked him out. Because I had voted for Ric Flair over Brock Lesnar. I think it might have been Austin.
I vote for Kurt Angle over Brock Lesnar. Honestly,
Wow.
seriously, I
Well,
would go with Kurt Angle over Brock Lesnar. I mean, Kurt
yeah,
Angle is actually a wrestler. I mean, not to say that Brock Lesnar isn't because he's a two-time NCAA national champion, but I mean, this
well,
is Kurt freaking Angle. I mean, the guy won an Olympic gold.
I'm about to say he got a gold medal. I mean, Brock Lesnar might have been good at least in the collegiate and also in high school, but he doesn't have a gold medal.
Yeah, he's one of the first guys to actually parlay his collegiate wrestling and amateur wrestling over to, what they call fake wrestling. So I mean,
No,
come on now.
but I still actually, PD, don't jump over here and beat me up, but I'm still sticking with Steve Austin because, like I said last week, he defined the Attitude Era to me. I mean, when I actually saw like the T-shirts with Stone Cold giving the middle finger with the skull and the crossbones and stuff like that, man, and so Austin 316, he can't be matched.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. Like I said, I agree to disagree, but with Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the vote, I definitely can't disagree with that. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, if
And I say that's
somebody's
the bottom line.
What was
I
that?
said that's the bottom line, man. I said that was the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
I mean, come on now. This is the only man that actually got to kick his boss's ass every week. So I mean, come on now. That's every man's dream.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, it's pretty tough to argue against Stone Cold winning the tournament. I mean, if it would have been Psycho Sid winning, it would have been like
Wow.
what?
Psycho said, "Wow." I
And
mean,
we did give Vince McMahon a shot, so
oh my goodness. But I am happy for to see Stone Cold winning because I watched his career ever since he started in UWF when he was called Steve Williams, where he was supposed to be with Gentleman Chris Adams and that whole thing.
yeah,
And it's
stunning Steve.
and he then to see him change into Stunning Steve, and then just to see him become Stone Cold Steve Austin, just become this big wrestling icon. It's amazing to me to see him like that. So I'm just really proud to see the man that he's become and the champion that he's become and the wrestling icon that he is. Because like I said, I've been watching wrestling since I was maybe like 3 years old. I remember like my father first took me to my first wrestling match, and I seen Bob Backlund wrestling, and that whole just me watching it just changed my whole life, really.
And a lot of people, well, both for Hogan and for Austin, and I guess now with CM Punk even, it's these are the type of guys that really make them get into wrestling. So it makes sense why they're such legends when it comes to the business and everything.
Well, see, I like CM Punk because especially the night that he dropped those pipe bombs, I was like, yes, 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 yes. Not to take
Yeah.
it away from Daniel Bryan, but just what he said and everything that he said, like how he was saying, like everybody's kissing Vince McMahon's ass, and if you're not kissing Vince McMahon's ass, then you're not gonna be anything in his business, and it was
Careful, he's
just he
getting
was
a
just
title shot because he married his daughter.
right, yeah. Anything, even he even talked about my man Triple H, but I'm like,
Yeah,
you're speaking to the choir. You know what I'm saying? We all know what it
yeah.
is. So
Right. Well, that sums up the tournament then. And normally at this point, I would be announcing another tournament, and I actually was considering doing a best world heavyweight champion or best intercontinental and so on and
yes,
so
I was
forth.
just about to say, could you do a best Intercontinental Champion,
That
please?
actually, I was trying to get that one as the one that people would vote for originally, but everybody ended up going for WWE Championship, and I was like, all right, makes sense to do the top one as the best. But I wanted to knock out all of the titles, eventually even down the line doing hardcore and everything like that. But
Because I
I,
remember one time I actually talked to Bret Hart on his radio show, and I was like, at the time, the Intercontinental title was to me because to me I've always loved the Intercontinental title over the World title because to me that was the belt where you had the best matches, and I don't know if y'all gonna agree with me on this one, but WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage, that's probably one of the best
Oh, of
matches
course.
oh
I've
yeah,
ever
without a
seen
doubt.
in
Yeah.
my life, and that match right there just put the Intercontinental title on another level. And I'm like, and even Bret Hart said it to me. He's like, that's a wrestler's title. He was like, that's the title that you get that puts you up on that tier. So yeah,
Right.
if you want to do an Intercontinental Championship tournament, I'm all in on that one.
I might be doing one. I might. It kind of all depends. The layout that I got for you guys. Last time I had a little bit of a vote going on. This time I'm gonna have to figure it out myself because as I've been promoting for the past couple weeks, and I even mentioned it earlier on the show, the next episode of Smack Talk is not going to be the normal episode 61. It'll be the end of the year awards, the best and
Right.
worst of WWE in 2012, and that is going to be uh, days for me to do that. I'm actually filming it. Right now, we're filming this, or we're recording this on Friday night, the 21st, and I'll be recording that tomorrow, the 22nd, and it won't be
That's
up
if we're still
until
here.
right. Yeah, you never know in the next hour and a half. Um, but that will be up the 29th for anybody that is watching out for that. In the meantime, I'm going to be posting some results, not all of them, on the website itself. And for everybody interested, go ahead and send me all of your picks for it. All the categories are broken down when it comes to the Smack Talk Awards, as well as the Performance Awards and the Writing and Technical Awards. Um, so that's going to cover the special feature next week, is the entire show. But instead of running a tournament right off the bat in January, because we have the Royal Rumble prediction contest, and that's going to be somewhere in the middle of January, I'm considering having a new feature, which I might make a once a year kind of a thing called One to Watch, where we all pick the one person that we would really keep our eyes on for the next year. And then instead of doing just a tournament that we go back and forth every week on, I'm thinking about having kind of a rotating cycle of other segments. And those are the ones that should be on your screen now if you're watching this on YouTube. Um, there's the top rope lists, which is just like a top 5, top 3, top 10 kind of a list thing going on. Finisher versus finisher, where we take two people who have the same finishing move and compare which one does it better, kind of like Sweet Chin Music from Shawn Michaels as opposed to the last call that James Storm does. There's whether or not somebody was better as a heel or a face. There's Belt or Bury, where we discuss one particular wrestler, whether or not they should be fired or pushed to the moon. Superstar Scores, where we rank a wrestler on 10 different categories, everything from their mic skills to their ring skills and the look of them, because if they're a fat slob like Bastion Booker, then they clearly don't get a
Wow.
10. Wrestling with the Past, where we all have a retro topic we talk about, the possibility of other tournaments as well, and the WWE hierarchy ranking, where kind of a power ranking system, but I'm leaning a little against that one because everybody kind of does that. But let me know in the comments what you guys think sounds the most interesting out of that, and of course I'll update you on what we're going to end up doing back when everything kind of gets all sorted out and everything. So that will bring us into part 4 in the next section, where we'll talk about the Slammy Awards and start knocking out all of this review stuff from parts 4 on to 12.